Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Dropped Frames. We're joined by the wutface himself. Do most people know you by the wutface, or do they go by? Do they know you as Goldenboy? What are you most known for here, Goldenboy?
I honestly, I don't know. But I do have a fun little anecdote.
Okay.
TwitchCon, first TwitchCon. I had just got done casting the H1Z1 Invitational, and that was like a huge event. I don't know if anyone remembers that. It was like massive. Like we had the whole hall filled out. It was like 100,000 people watching on Twitch. So I felt really good. I was like, oh man, felt like I did a good job in that one, right? Crushed it. And then as I'm walking down and hitting the elevator, some dude like is going like in the opposite direction. And he's like, yo, do the what face, bro? And I was like, all right, I just did all this stuff. I'm an entertainer of millions, global icon, but yet I'm being asked to just do this face. So I just did the face for him.
Yeah, you have to.
What more can I do? I just did the face.
Yeah,
it's good.
Yeah, I mean, you're at TwitchCon. I think you would get recognized for the wutface more, right? Is that the number one wutface recognized place?
Oh, for sure. Sure. Yeah, it's pretty common. And then there's always like a good one when I like do it when I'm casting a tournament, and then someone immediately in chat's like, yo, I think that's a what face guy. And then, and then people are like, no, that doesn't look like him. It's always good. Always a good time.
Well, see, I think on the other side, though, I think that really means you've made it in a lot of ways. Can you imagine what it was like for Jim Carrey to walk down the street after Ace Ventura? Like, do the thing, say the thing, do the thing, like their entire life, because it's like everyone knew him, So, I mean, I don't know, man. That's kind of transcendental in terms of popularity. You've become the face.
Yeah,
I'll take it. I'll take whatever I can get. Honestly, I mean, I never thought that if I were to be famous, it'd be for my face. I'll tell you that much, because I really don't have much going on here. But we roll what we got.
Don't sell yourself short, man. You're beautiful. You're beautiful. I think I like the way that Dave Chappelle put it when he was like, I was with my kids at Disneyland. And he was like, Mickey Mouse was like, Rick James, bitch. It's like, God damn it, Mickey Mouse.
Dave Chappelle's got a good bit about that whole thing for sure with his show back in the day. Anyways, I don't know why it took this long to have you on the show, Goldenboy. I think we've known each other for probably 10 years now or so ish.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah. You were at StarCraft commentator. See, I know JP, the StarCraft commentator.
He knows me as the real asshole, not this like fake persona asshole that I have these days. Right, Goldenboy? Right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, 100%. But yeah, no, I always looked up to you as for some great commentary.
No idea
like
why.
you guys are I mean the StarCraft casters, right? I mean Total Biscuit, right? Day 9, like I looked up to all you guys because you guys were doing it so well. And then we were over in Call of Duty just slumming it out with like really crappy spectator tools and just reading kill feeds.
Yeah.
You guys were actually like on the front end of something that was genuinely just unbelievable.
That was all Total Biscuit and Day 9 and Tasteless and Artosis. I was just riding their heels 100%. So I'll take the appreciation, but credit where credit is due.
But I think it's incredible how it's grown, man. And it's like, and how all that has inspired like a generation of people to just follow their passion for esports. So that, sir, I thank you for.
I appreciate it. Do you remember that cab ride that we shared in, I think it was New Orleans? I was there just hanging out because MLG invited me out for, I think, like the Call of Duty World Championships in 2013 or 14 or something like that.
Oh, no. It was LA. Had it been LA?
Was it LA? It was a really long cab ride. And it was just me and you in the cab. And we sat there and like talked about how you have just taken over the world of commentating and Call of Duty and all that stuff. It was, I will remember that ride for a while, or have remembered it for a while. It was a good conversation.
Because I think we were going to the airport. I'm like fairly certain we were going to the airport.
Maybe so.
It was like a long ride, and I'm pretty sure we were like stuck in traffic or something. We were just there, just chatting for hours and hours. Yeah. It felt like hours because it's LA and it's
I mean, you're talking to me. It's rough. Yeah, I get it. No. I understand. And we were also probably hungover because it was the night after the final day. Yeah. Anyways,
more than likely.
We can talk old esports times and leave Cohh and Zeke out of this for hours, but that's not why people are here.
No, I love this shit. I love hearing about like the old days, man. That's my favorite shit. Like when like no one was like, everyone had their head up their ass and we're just trying to like figure it out as you go kind of stuff. I love those stories.
Yeah. I think the age old adage of the old esports days is one day I'll write a book about all of it. I think everyone kind of has the one day a book will come out of all those stories. And some people have actually gotten those books out and then have quickly left esports afterwards.
Well, no, I didn't expect that one to happen.
Yeah. Anyways, let's move forward.
As you slowly see like the top of a book come on screen and Goldenboy's like, oh,
no.
We're not doing that.
We're not there yet.
We're not
That's
at
at the end of the show. We're promoting this book.
I really hope your book is just what face and a big picture of the emote. Like that's the entire. That's it.
Well, I'll have to dedicate a whole chapter to how the face was created, but it will actually be just a bunch of like just random stories that actually don't have any connection to anything else. And then at the end of the chapter, it's just a face that me and my wife would make to one another because we thought it was funny. And then that's like that's the whole story. So whole chapter, useless words throughout. So it's kind of like my commentary. And then at the end of it, the punchline. It'll work. It's gonna be great.
There you go.
We already have I think we already came up with the title. At least I did for JP's book, Falling Upward.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that one I remember
stumbled into great success. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
No, I wanted to ask you, Goldenboy. I wanted to ask you, was there a moment? I love hearing about these moments that you just stopped and went, "I made it." Like, was there a moment like that for you?
Yeah, there were two.
Like, I know there's always room for improvement. You're always moving forward, you know, that kind of stuff. But like, there was a point for me when I was like, "Holy shit, this is a thing. I'm doing it."
Yeah. The it's hard. There are three moments. I was going to say two, but there are actually three very significant moments in my life that where I was like, I can't believe that I'm here right now. What are these people thinking? So the first one was Overwatch League Finals. It was really mind blowing to just walk out on ESPN and be in the Barclays Center, and there were like 20,000 people there. And for some reason, the Overwatch League thought that it was a smart idea to send me and to open the show. But it was like a history making moment for the league and just for I also say for esports, because it was like something really just was pushing a lot of the norms aside and trying to do something different.
Sure.
For better, for worse, depending on who you are, right? You'll have an opinion on it one way or another. Then the second moment was when I was on the set of Titan Games, and I met Dwayne Johnson, and then I was just like, he's huge, like he's
in
really
all forms
big.
of the word.
Yeah, he's really big. He shook my hand, and his hand overtook my entire hand. But he's genuinely like one of the nicest people in the world. And I was like, this is my coworker. This is my coworker. This is so weird. And then season 2 felt even more weird because like we were interacting more together. So
it felt normal at that point.
Yeah. Like he comes out, we're just chatting. We're just chatting about pro wrestling. We're just talking about, gaming. Like we're talking about the show. We're just chatting about, workouts because I still am just trying to get in shape. And he's so helpful. And then the third time was when I sat alongside Jim Ross and commentated pro wrestling for AEW. Ironically, I'm wearing a shirt not because it just was the only clean shirt I had. But I sat down next to Jim Ross and I was like, this is my hero. This is like the guy I based my entire career off of, like as stylistically taking a pro wrestling entertainment style approach to video games. And I'm here next to him. And then when we got done with the show, he turned to me and he said, "You're fucking good, kid." I was like, holy shit.
Oh,
Jim
man.
Ross just said that to me. So that was it.
Wow.
That was like, those were the good moments for sure.
Yeah, that must have been you'll never forget that moment for sure. That's crazy. That's
Never.
fucking nuts.
Never.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said you had a third, maybe?
No, those are the three moments.
Those
It was
are the three.
Overwatch League,
Okay.
Yeah.
Titan Games, and commentating pro wrestling with Jim Ross.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, for those that I guess if you don't follow wrestling, Jim Ross is kind of, is it safe to say the most like fabled wrestling commentator of all time? Is that, I mean, I guess like Jerry Lawler might be in there maybe, but
well, they were co-commentators. So I think it was like Jim Ross, Jerry Lawler. You probably say Michael Cole, and then maybe like Tony Schiavone, and then Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Right.
Well, there are a lot of really good ones. I would say like if you're like a pro wrestling fan, your favorites are probably Jim Ross and Bobby the Brain Heenan. if you aren't familiar with pro wrestling, then you're very familiar with just Jim Ross, because everyone knows like, my God, he threw him off, the man's dead, or Stone Cold, like all those like famous calls and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. That's kind of, I think, like the end game of Goldenboy, not necessarily end game, but some of the high points. What like a lot of people are maybe unfamiliar with where you got started. Was Call of Duty the entry game that you kind of started with when it came to commentating? How did that all start? What was there? Because I think everyone in the old esports days have the weirdest paths to where they eventually got to. So what was kind of your path back in the day?
Yeah, I was a fledgling player in Call of Duty. So I always had like a passion for Halo. It's just a Halo fan, but it was like so far gone. Like the pro players were so good and it was just so hard to catch up. So I migrated over to Call of Duty and was like competing in game battles and stuff. And then I finally decided, like I was married and I had a full-time job. I was like, 20 or 21 or something. And I was just like, I don't know if I can keep doing this, because I got bills to pay and, a family to take care of. So then I decided to stop playing and focus on just my work. But then one day, Nexi hit me up. And for those who may not know, Nexi he was like a producer or something like that. He had a lot of hats at MLG back in the day when MLG was just a real small company of like 8-9 people.
Yeah.
And he was a producer for the Call of Duty broadcast. And it turns out that the guy who was supposed to commentate couldn't make it. And they had me guest cast on a Sunday because that same guy didn't want to wake up and commentate the loser bracket matches on Sunday or Saturday.
Like such a classic MLG. I was too drunk last night, guys. I can't commentate this morning.
Yeah, like something was up and he couldn't make it. So they were like, hey, do you want to do it? And because I it was like MLG back in the day. You used to go up to people all the time, be like, yo, man, let me cast. I'll be sick. Let me cast.
Yeah, you got to get up on the like high rise building thing they had back then.
Yeah. So I was like, I asked him, and I had known Nexi because we played games together, and so they had called me because they didn't have anyone to commentate this Uncharted event, and I was like the only person they knew that played Uncharted 2 multiplayer. So they called me to do this thing. I was getting paid like $100 to do it, but then the day before I was gonna leave, they were like, "Hey, you want to commentate Call of Duty because this guy can't make it?" And then I was like, do I get paid? And they were like, yeah, sure, why not? I was like, oh, hell yeah, let's do it. I'll go.
Good on you for like just straight up asking that as your first, because most people be like, oh yeah, dude, let's go. You don't have to pay me. And MLG be like, all right, we don't have to pay him, guys. Put the checks away.
Yeah, well, I was gonna go anyway.
Yeah.
Exposure dollars are the highlight currency for up and coming commentators. So.
Yeah.
I asked the question only because I was like, oh, well, it's 3 days. Like it's a lot of work. And, I was working in a professional field. I was a social worker. So I was like, yeah, I'm just curious. And, they said, yeah. And they were like, yeah, we'll just give you his paycheck. So I was like, oh, sweet. All right. So I ended up getting his paycheck. And then the money I made for the Uncharted event, which was pretty funny. And then I commentated with Corey Dunn.
Yeah.
And the way even Nexi did it too, like I was a social worker, so I was going from client to client. I work with people who had developmental disabilities, so all my clients worked in different places. So I was like a job coach, so I would go and help them out at work and get them to understand their job and how to like grow in the workplace and stuff, socialize as well. So I was like underground in the train, and then I get in the New York subway, and then I get a voicemail, and then it's just Nexi, and he's like, hey, bud, just want to let you know, Doc can't make it to the event. So congratulations, you're commentating the national championships. We'll love to have you. I was like, okay, sure. So then I called him back, and then he like explained everything to me. And then I took a mega bus to Rhode Island for $1 with my boys. My best friends, Robski and Ghost. We hopped in a car.
Oh my God,
we went
that
up
was the Rhode Island finals. Oh my!
That was the Rhode Island finals. Yeah. I went up there and I commentated it, and I loved. I had no expectations, but I loved when they used to introduce the casters. Right when Sonny used to come onto the stage and then say, "We have Halo over here, we have StarCraft over here, we have Call of Duty over here," right, and the fighting game station and stuff. And then like Taste of Artosis used to do some like corny dumb stuff, and I loved it. So I was like, Corey, telling Corey Dunn, I was like, Corey, we got to do something like really fun. And he's like, I'm not doing any of that crap. And it's like, no, trust me. Come on, let's just do something. So I started like dancing randomly, and then he's just like shaking his head. It was like so great. it was like a dream come true. So yeah, so that was the first time I casted. People liked it, and then I just kept going.
Awesome.
Didn't stop.
Yeah, you said the Rhode Island finals. Do you remember the Sunday night after party thing where the hotel, maybe it was Saturday, where people had to evacuate the hotel?
Yeah. I remember that.
We'll talk about that off stream.
No way. Oh my God, that's good. I always was curious about that because my best friend Anthony was wasted that day. He got eliminated like immediately, and then he just got so hammered. And then he was like doing commando rolls on the floor and like just, oh my God, it was so bad. And then we had to evacuate. I remember that. That was actually pretty nuts.
Yeah. That was different times. For sure. Oh God. Yeah. Those were different times. Ridiculous times for sure. I think that might have been the first like national final that I was at, because was StarCraft even there? I think we were there because I know Nick and Dan were there, but I don't know if it
StarCraft was there. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess that might have been there too.
Was that the event? No, I don't know if that was the event when Idra, or I think it was Idra or Huck, told him like, "Oh, don't worry, that's Halo."
Yeah, that might.
I think that was that. I think it was that event. I don't remember. There was like a real famous moment for Cohh and Zeke that it was like basically like a player was building this like crazy vehicle in StarCraft, and I don't remember the name of it.
Mothership.
But the mothership, and the crowd was going crazy because they were seeing this thing built. And then the guy like goes into the chat. He's like, "Don't worry, the screaming's for Halo," or something like that.
Because the fans were cheering. Because the commentators would show it, and the fans would cheer really loud. And so the players didn't have like full on. Like, they could still hear like the bass essentially of the crowd cheering. And so when they would go over and show that portion of the map, the crowd would get really loud. And so the player typed, "Don't worry, that's Halo. Like, don't worry, that's not on our game. They're not revealing any extra information."
I think he did question marks or something like that. He like typed question marks, and then he was like, "No, don't worry, that's Halo."
Yeah.
And then it was such a sick moment, and also Halo would never get that loud.
Yeah.
So let's be honest.
It was real fucking loud. Yeah. Those were you can I think a lot of those VODs still exist in some form or the other, probably on YouTube somewhere.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, if you want to find those. So yeah, okay. So Rhode Island, that was the first big thing for you. And then you had a little stint there working at Twitch. How did that, when did the broadcasting stop and then go into Twitch? How did that process work?
So I worked at IPL for a little bit. I got my first full-time job commentating the eSport of the future, Shoot Mania.
Oh God. I have so many stories.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So
dude, I love that game. I remember.
Really? I was about to say, dude, there's no way. I don't like that game was literally the Quake and UT retirement home. It was just the funniest thing, and they invested so much money into it, right?
They invested so much money. That was the only job I ever got fired from, was working for Shoot Mania at IPL at the Vegas event.
No way, really?
I was the TD for that. Yeah, so they wanted everyone to show up at like 6 a.m. every morning when the broadcast didn't start till noon. And we were in Vegas. And so like egomaniac me was like, I'm not fucking showing up at 6 a.m. to sit in a chair for 5 hours with like my thumb in my ass. I'll show up at 11. And like, if you do that, you're fired. I said, all right. I just said, fire me. And I didn't show up the next day. And I stayed in Vegas for that night. Alternatively,
crazy.
That was also one of the worst weekends of my life. So for other reasons, it was a long weekend, but yeah. Shoot Mania. Yeah. Great eSport.
I got to commentate though with Total Biscuit, and that was probably like the one highlight of doing that. It was really fun to cast with him. And so I got that job, and then IPL went under, and then Ernest Lee. I don't know if you guys know him. You might. Ernie. When I was coming out to California, I didn't have a place to stay, so he said, "Hey man, you just want to come live with me?" And I only knew him like just from a few games we played COD together. And he just took a risk and was like, "Hey, you want to just come stay with me for a little while before you get a place?" To which I was like, "Yeah, for sure." So I went out, and then me, Seltzer, Trevor Torch, our other buddy Barbosa, we ended up getting an apartment together in Alameda, I think it was. So we ended up getting an apartment together, and that was great. But because of that relationship with Ernie, when it came down to it, I got offered a job by MLG, and then I was calling him for advice. And then that same day, he got back to me and was like, hey, we'd like to offer you a job. And I was just like, holy crap, are you serious? I went from having no job to 2 jobs. And then, so I took the Twitch job because I asked my friends, and everyone was like, yeah, man, like Twitch is going places, you know? So might as well go for it. So I got the job. I got in there before they got bought by Amazon.
Yeah.
So I lucked out. Cash that bad boy out of there, you know?
Yeah.
Peace. Took my bank out and left. But it was a fun experience. It was really fun to do. And that's also how the wutface got put onto Twitch, because I was an employee.
Yep.
So,
makes sense. Yeah. What was the rule back then when it came to like the global emotes? Was it, because I don't think they can do it now with how many employees, but was it every employee got a global emote or that wanted one, or like what?
Yeah, if you wanted one, they didn't like publicly broadcast it to everyone and say like, oh, you know, everyone can get a global emote. But I think there was like enough people that knew me within the company that they were like, yeah, you know, if you want a global emote, that's fine. The way that emote actually came about was a Call of Duty commentator made the emote, it clipped it from this MLG stream, made the emote, submitted it, and then it got turned down because they recognized that it was me. So they were like, you can't use his face as an emote because he didn't give you permission for this. So then the guy came back to me and was like, hey, do you just want this emote? Because like, I can't do anything with it. It's useless to me. So it's like, yeah, sure. So I took the emote, and then that's how I put it on Twitch. I didn't even make the damn thing. I don't even know who made it. I have no idea. It just happened to fall into my DMs. Thanks, Duff Man. And then that was it.
Beautiful. Sometimes there's no grand story behind things. Shit just happens and it works out.
Yeah.
That's how it goes. So then you left Twitch and you went back to what year was that? Was that 2016? It all blends together now.
I don't even recall. I mean, I've been freelance now for like 5-ish years. No, 3-ish years or 4-ish years, like full freelance now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll probably say like 2016-ish.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've kind of been along the esports ride then, from, you know, doing an MLG in a hotel type arena deal to like the grand arenas like you were talking about in the Barclays Center for Overwatch. What for you has been the like craziest thing that you've seen in esports across all those years that you're just kind of like, there's no way that actually happened? Like, there's no way that esports is this big. Like what moment for you and all of that was just like, is this really happening type deal? Is it tied to any of your like favorite moments or?
Yeah, you know, well, the Overwatch League moment was always going to be a big one for me, just because I remember we were at Barclays, and for those who may not know, I live in Brooklyn, so I'm like 5 stops away from Barclays Center, and which was like the best gig ever. I didn't have to stay in a hotel. I got to see my dog every night. It was dope.
Those are great.
I remember, doing we had to do a hit like beforehand for ESPN, where I was like in the rafters and they wanted me to like recollect some of my favorite moments, because ironically enough, I saw The Rock at Barclays Center randomly when he like showed up for an episode of Monday Night Raw, and I was in the nosebleeds with my 2 best friends, Rob and Ghost. So we were just chilling.
Just so I can get it from context, but a hit is just like a segment, right?
Yeah, it's a segment. Yeah. It was just a segment hit from like the top of the bleachers, right?
Okay.
Sorry. So I was doing this segment, and then the producer that was with me, was my buddy Kevin, who he like was the floor manager, and I was like looking around, and I noticed like people were coming in, but it wasn't like filled. So I was just like, okay, this is about what I expected. Probably fell at the first level, maybe get a little body, quite a few bodies in the mid bowl, but we're definitely not going to fill out the top bowl. Like that's just impossible, right? And then went to the back. I was getting ready for the opening, and I go to Kevin. I was like, hey man, how is it out there? He's like, oh, it's cool. It's cool. Meanwhile, though, like it was packed. Like it was like freaking top to bottom. So when I came out and I saw it, I was like, I can't believe that this was real. Like it was like bodies from the beginning of the stage all the way up to the top row. I just couldn't believe people would pay money to like sit in the top row of the Barclays Center and watch a video game tournament. It was mind blowing. So that, I think, to me was just like one of the weirdest and craziest moments And then the time I commentated Snoop Dogg smoking a blunt playing Battlefield. That was another really good one.
Oh my God, you commentated that EA event?
I did, yeah. I did. Me and Westy. Yep.
We covered that. Me and Cohh covered that live years ago. I think Zeke was at E3 for that event, so he might have been on the Twitch broadcast covering it. Holy shit! That thing was crazy. Like Zac Efron was like hitting his drug guy.
yeah, dude. They were so blasted.
An experience.
Fun fact, you know, Snoop Dogg needs to have a place to smoke weed. It is in his rider. Every gig he does has to have a place to smoke weed.
I get it.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, you got to stay on brand, right? You got to strive for brand loyalty or whatever. Crazy.
Similarly, we were doing a For Honor like promotional gig in I think it was at the ESL Studios in LA, and Jason Momoa was there, and he has a similar thing in his writer that he in his trailer or in his room, green room, whatever. There is sliced meat and beer. Like those are the two things. Like
wait, you said for Jason Momoa? Jason Momoa? For Aquaman.
For Aquaman.
Fucking Khal Drogo, baby.
Sliced meat. Does it say what type of beer, or does it just say beer?
God, what did he? I think he was drinking Guinness, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. All right.
I shared a beer with him. It was pretty great.
Yeah. I remember Strippin told me stories for that. Yeah. You have you have stream footage of playing For Honor with him, right, Zeke? Yeah.
Yeah, he's sitting next to me, and I got him to do the little like a fist to the camera and stuff.
Yeah.
But okay, just TLDR. We were at this For Honor thing. He sat there's a few celebrities there sitting down learning the game. He sat down next to me. I was like, "Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?" He's like, "Yeah, teach me this game." I was like, "All right." So we're teaching the game, and he has a beer brought to him by one of his team, and he starts drinking. I was like, "Hey, man, where'd you get that?" He's like, "Oh, it's in my contract." I was like, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, there's meat and beer in my trailer at all times. It's in my contract." I was like, "Fucking yeah." Is there any way I can get one of these? And I'm looking around like, can I get a beer? Anyone? And like the people at the ESL were like, you can't have a beer. And I was like, fuck.
We don't trust you with the beer. We trust him, not you.
Yeah. But Jason Momoa was like, okay, this is the table. And he just goes, pushes it over to me. And he goes, hey, I need another beer. And I was like, fuck yeah, dude.
That's a good move.
It was sweet. He was a cool dude. Yeah.
What a bro.
Absolute bro, for sure.
Sorry, but we're not here to talk about me.
No. That I need more Jason Momoa stories in my life. Bro.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? He's awesome.
I want to talk to you about The Rock, but before we do, one of my favorite things to ask people that have been commentating esports for a long time is what their like worst/best sponsor during a live broadcast is. My particular favorite one, while you're kind of thinking about it, because you've probably done a ton, was back in the early days. And this actually kind of ties into a lot of the more recent Twitch news with the government streaming. I think it's the Air Force or the Army or whatever streaming. MLG sold a sponsor segment right before their finals for the National Guard. And it was called the National Guard Path to Honor. Now, this is the way that the thing was set up. And it wasn't told, I didn't do it. I was the producer that had to tell Artosis and Tasteless how to like do this in real time, like 5 minutes. There was no practice. So I get told by the director of the stream, like, all right, we need to hit, this is the sponsor stuff. Here's here's the one sheet for it. Go let them know how it goes. So they start off and it's like, all right, it's time to recap our players' path to the finals here with the National Guard Path to Honor. As soon as they say Path to Honor, the fucking 21 Gun Salute song starts playing behind them. Like,
oh my God.
That was the music that they chose to play for this segment for some reason.
Were you talking about like the sad, like taps?
Yeah, taps, like dun, 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 that type of thing. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So that starts playing. And then they're like, all right, so we have Idra starting out here in the round of 32, and he defeated so-and-so, and that was a great match there. So it was that for about, I think it was like a 10-minute segment or so.
Oh my God, 10 minutes?
Yeah, eventually the song died out because the song stopped playing, and I think they started it up again. It was the worst spot, like... Thankfully they were showing footage of the game. Like they were able to pull footage from the broadcast earlier in the day, because Nick and Dan were laughing as they were doing.
Oh my gosh!
Because they just had taps playing in their ear, and they were like, I don't know what to say. What are we supposed to talk about?
It had to be because taps is public domain. It has to be.
Maybe. I don't know. It was.
But you would think the National Guard would have had like a little bit more prep or access, you know?
Yeah, or they might have not known. Like it might have been like a bad sales team thing where they just didn't give them the full detail of it. Anyways, for me, that was while it wasn't necessarily 100% the broadcast voice that did it. I was the producer behind it. It was just
you had to deliver the bad news.
I had to deliver it to them, and like watching them not laugh while taps played in the background and like the National Guard flag or whatever, like it might have just been the American flag actually, just like had a wave behind them in the background, like it was opaque. I don't know if VODs of that exist anymore. I think they might have just deleted those off the internet. But they're probably on
the best.
Yeah, for the best. Yeah, it might be on a hard drive somewhere. I would love to watch that because it was.
Maybe Adam has it. Adam Epicella might have it.
Epicella probably has it somewhere. Yeah, him or Ryan probably, because I think Ryan actually was the director of that stream. Anyways, we're saying names you guys don't recognize, but.
Are you ready to get hype?
Yeah, dude, it was right before the grand finals of the tournament. Like, how do you? Oh my god! Those were the
time to watch the
days,
finals. And you're like, no, please.
So
my favorite sponsor that I've ever done was T-Mobile. I got really famous for T-Mobile in the Overwatch World Cup. So we had we started doing like all these different sponsorship, because like Overwatch is a pretty like marketable game. So, you know, people like non-endemics were coming in pretty hot for it. And one of the sponsors that was added super last minute was T-Mobile. So I did this segment in Shanghai. The first World Cup stop was Shanghai. And, you know, they gave me like this copy to read. Now this Shanghai event, well, it was great to do an event in Shanghai. Like, let me just preface that, because I'd always wanted to do an esports event in Asia. Like, there was like, I saw all my colleagues do it. I was like, dude, this would be super sick. So we walk into the venue. Mind you, it's the middle of the summer. Turns out that when it's summer in Shanghai, it actually is scorching hot to like, essentially it's like you're walking into the seventh circle of hell. You know, like that's how hot it is in that area. Like, I'm not even kidding. We will walk out of the hotel. Second you walk out of the hotel, smack in your face, you're just sweating. Like it doesn't even. There's nothing you can do to stop it. Like so bad. Carolina. So yeah. So well, you'll do very well in Shanghai then. So when we got to the building, they told us the air conditioner had broken and that it wasn't working at all. The broadcast building, yeah. So the air conditioner was busted. So the best that they could do was give us these fans that were like directly over us. And if you talk to Rachel about it, she'll tell you it was just a nightmare because her hair is like freaking flowing. It looks like an action movie gone incredibly wrong. Like it was just, oh man, it was terrible. So they just wanted to get through this event. So they gave me these reads and they were like, just read this. So I read it and it was so bad. It was just like, you know, America's fastest network ever is T-Mobile. Mind you, we're in Shanghai, you know, like talking about America's fastest network. So that didn't make it a lot of sense. But then we get to the Australia event, and then the guy just told me, the producer in my ear was just like, hey man, just have fun with it. Just do whatever you want. I was like, really?
Those are the greatest.
Sweet. So then I started like incorporating it into sentences. When like someone would say like something, they'd be like, oh, you know, that was just such a great play from Team Australia, the way that they handled, you know, the pressure there from Team Japan. And I was like, you want to know what else is great? T-Mobile. And then I would just like swoop it in, right? And it just became a running gag like throughout the weekend. And then it just became a thing, so much that someone made like a montage of it on YouTube. And there's just a montage of me having T-Mobile segues. And it got so popular that like they just kept going. And then the T-Mobile CEO told me, he was like, what you did like made us want to invest into Overwatch for like 3 more years. And I was like, well, shit, I'll take a cut of that check if you don't mind.
Holy shit.
Then they sponsored me. And then it just got so out of control, all because I just decided to be as crass and as annoying as possible with these sponsors. It got to a point where I would do it.
Wait a minute. Are we getting a check? Are we getting?
I am still spot. Well, I'm like a partner of theirs, so they just send me a free phone now.
Okay.
And it has like the bill paid and everything. Okay. But my wife likes Sprint, so they're merging, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I would do that, and then like at BlizzCon, I would say like, well, you know, guys, it was a great matchup, and what also is great is T-Mobile, and then the crowd just booed. They were just like, boo, like they were all into it, but it was like they were into the gag. So that was like my favorite one.
Yeah, I think I was
now.
In that
now
arena.
Everyone just knows me as that. Yeah, probably.
I was in the arena when people started booing, and I was just like, why the fuck are they booing Goldenboy? Like, what?
Yeah. Because I managed to get people to organically root for and also against T-Mobile. It was a good time. Yeah, it was a good time.
Weird stuff.
I remember at a PAX, one of our, like the Twitch stage, one of the days was sponsored by the Reese's Peanut Butter Puff cereal. And they didn't really, they were just like, show the product, eat some of the cereal, something. And they kind of left it like open. And I was like, John Carnage is on this segment. This is.
Oh no.
And it got messy and it got fucking weird.
It got weird. Yeah.
But I love when they just leave it open. They're just like, just show the box, dude, and then do whatever. And it's just like milk and fucking puffs just flying everywhere.
Yeah. Yep.
Brilliant.
Did you guys do the Totino's sponsorship ones? Did you ever do that?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, with the couch, with the bucking couch. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh no,
Jericho did that.
That.
Yeah, Jericho was on that. He was at that shoot. Yeah.
Yeah, I did that too. They gave us nothing but Totino's. I ate my body weight in Totino's. They just kept bringing them out. Then I remember getting to the airport and I was so sick. Like I called my wife. I was like, babe, I don't know if I could do this flight. I feel terrible. She's like, yeah, because you ate like 1 million Totinos. I haven't had a Totino since.
Oh,
since that event, I haven't had it.
Oh, that's the worst.
It's done.
Yeah, that'd be
done.
It's like a bad drinking experience. You can't have Jaeger anymore. You know, you just can't drink.
Nope.
Were you still with Twitch when they did the stride gum thing?
Yes. Yeah. Where they had people, and they were having people like always eat it too, right? I think it was like you always had to have a stick of gum in your mouth. I was like, how is that
craziest fucking thing? It was like,
while on the broadcast,
it was at the Twitch HQ. They had a room set up just for shooting the stride gum event thing, and it was like Adult Swim on acid. It was fucking weird, like the whole time. And yeah, there was like costume changes, gum mess, wheel, like hide and seek. Like, fuck, man.
Yeah. Sponsor stuff is
bad, man. Good times.
I think Cohh's the best of us. Cohh hasn't done any of this. You know, he's just.
By the way, I'd like you to pick up a Butterfinger at your closest 7-Eleven or nearby store.
You did that Butterfinger one for Final Fantasy, I think is what it was. Yeah.
Final Fantasy 7 Remake.
Yeah,
man. I may have passed on pretty much all the other ones, but dude, I love me some Butterfingers, man.
It's fair.
He sent me a freaking bag, like literally like 50 bars in a plastic bag. It was glorious. I went through them like every night for 3 weeks. It was fantastic.
That's not okay. That's good. Bad. It's good at the time. Bad later on. Yeah.
Oh, you'll feel it. But did you have regret? Probably not.
Probably not.
You know.
Yeah.
No, I asked for another bag.
Yeah. Hits them up. Yeah. That's how it goes. Let's talk a little bit about the NBC Titan games. I remember when you announced this, it was one of those things where I think maybe all of us were just like, holy shit, like Goldenboy's gonna be on NBC with The Rock for like this American Gladiators redo type, like fucking insane. And now you're in season 2 is airing right now, right?
Yeah.
What was the process for that to start? Like, did you have to, I'm sure you had to go in and audition for that. What was that process?
So this story is weird. I'll try and condense it.
Okay.
But basically like I was doing I think it was like doing some stuff for Overwatch League, and we were going around New York filming for finals. And then I got like an email from a woman named Tommy at NBC. And I thought it was one of my friends trolling me. Because they were like, hey, we're interested in talking to you about a potential program that we're doing. And, you know, we would love to hear from you and whether or not you're interested. So my manager, Kurt, took the email, and I was just like, dude, this is no way this is real. So he was like, well, you know, I'll talk to them, and, you know, we'll see what happens. So we jumped to a call, and the woman's like, yeah, so we're doing a physical competition show on NBC, and it is called the Titan Games. It's with Dwayne Johnson and blah, blah. And I was like, ma'am, if you don't mind me 1 second, did you say Dwayne Johnson is in like The Rock? She's like, yeah, DJ. Do you know him? I was like, no, I don't know him. Like, how am I supposed to casually know DJ? I don't know this guy. So the whole time, still thinking it's like one massive prank that my friends are pulling off, and then they finally were just like, yeah, we're just interested in flying you out. And I was like, how did you guys even like know about me? Like, I don't know. I don't even know what this show was. And they're like, yeah, we saw you do an event and we like your commentary. So we thought we would bring you out to commentate. So it's like, sure, that sounds like a sound thing. So I just wrapped up the Halo. Actually, you know what? Did you come out for the Halo event? You mentioned New Orleans. I think it was the Halo event.
I might have been. Yeah, something like that.
In any case, so basically, like, we were in New Orleans. I was with my crew. We were like all the Halo casters. We were hanging out, and then Kurt just calls me. He's like, "Do you mind hopping into an airplane right now and going to LA to read for the Time Games?" I was like, "Is this serious?" He's like, "Yeah. They actually want you to fly out right now." It's like, I got my wife. I bought an Airbnb. Like, I can't just pick up. They were like, they'll pay for a ticket for your wife. You just come out. You just go and read it. I was like, this is the worst gag I've ever seen if this is real, because I would be pissed. Guy showed up, picked me up, my wife up. We went to LA. They put us up at Universal Studio or Universal City. And then we went and I read with like Nate Boyer, Kerry Champion, a few athletes like that they brought in, Terrell Owens as well, or not. Holy Terrell shit. Owens. I think it was Terrell Owens. Maybe not. It was a long time ago. Anyway, I was reading with a lot of different pro athletes, and and then I met the producer, Arthur Smith, and we started talking, and they were just like, yeah, we really like you, and we just want to get a new voice, something fresh. So I was like, oh, okay, sure, man. So I'm doing all this stuff, and then I get one last call. They were like, we're down to the final two people. It's you and this guy, Liam McHugh, who does football and hockey for NBC. They really like Liam. We're both two play-by-play guys. So they were like, we're thinking about pairing you up. Do you mind going and reading at NBC Studios in New York? Because he was in Long Island. It's like, yeah, sure. That sounds normal. So I go to Rockefeller Center. I walk through the set of freaking Fallon. I am like I just can't believe this is like a thing. They sit us down in a room and then we do the read. And then an hour later, I get a call. Congratulations, you're going to be joining us on the Time Games. It's like, this is not real. Like this, none of this is real. So that happens. This show happens. Then season 2, I found out how I actually got called for it. So Hiram Garcia, who is the brother of Danny Garcia, the ex-wife of Dwayne Johnson, his current manager, watched a Fortnite Pro-Am and saw me commentate that event. The one with Dr. Lupo, and it was like it was outside. We were at LAFC and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And so he saw me commentate that event, and then they were like, "Yeah, we really like this guy. Let's fly." They were like, "What about eSports? Let's look at eSports." Is what they just kept saying. So they called me, and then I ended up getting the show, and it's like it's just the weirdest thing. I didn't audition about it. I didn't even know that it was a thing.
That's crazy.
I had no. Apparently, this was like the biggest show in LA for a little while. My friend Carrie, or my co-commentator on the show, Carrie, was telling me like everyone knew and everyone was trying to get the show in LA.
Yeah.
And then here comes this freaking asshole from gaming just gets thrown in there. It was the most random, weird thing.
What was meeting The Rock like for the first? What was that whole thing like when you met The Rock for the first time?
Yeah. I asked him if it was possible to meet.
You had to be nervous as fuck, I would think.
Oh,
right?
I definitely was.
Yeah.
I asked him if it was possible to meet him. They were like, "Oh no, we don't know if it's gonna happen." And then the PA comes in and she was just like, "I was just messing with you. We're gonna go meet The Rock right now." I was like, "Wait, what?" I wasn't even prepared for it. And then I just pulled up in a little golf cart. He rolls up in a golf cart, and then we all just like interact with each other. And he's like the nicest dude. Like it's kind of wild. Like you see these people and you think that they maybe suck up or whatever, but like behind the scenes, behind the cameras, no cameras on him. Like the guy is just a class act. He's just such a kind person, always helping people out. We were just chatting about NWA Pro Wrestling. NWA launched on YouTube, like rebranded on YouTube. They did this new show called Power. We're just like chatting about it, about some of the matches and stuff. I'm like, I'm just talking pro wrestling with The Rock. no big deal.
Yeah, it's a Wednesday.
Yeah.
It's a
DJ's
Wednesday.
a really good dude.
Yeah.
You know? He's
Yeah.
he's a
Do
solid
you
guy.
call him DJ? Are you on?
That's his name. That's his name.
That's what
He
okay.
introduces himself as DJ. He doesn't introduce himself as Dwayne. He says, I'm DJ. That's just how it is. So when people heard it in the show, they were like, who the hell is DJ? And it's like, that's his name. I can't help you. Like, oh, you should call him Dwayne or call him The Rock. I'm like, that's his fucking name. I can't do anything about that. But yeah. So
to be fair, like he is so big, he doesn't look like Dwayne is someone I picture like a skinny farmhand or something like that.
Yeah.
Like I don't picture a guy like The Rock, you know. So DJ is a good change, I think.
Yeah.
He nailed it.
Jeez. Well, that's a crazy story. When does that air for people that want to check out the Titan games and have not seen it before?
Yeah, it's on NBC every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern time, and 8 p.m. in California as well, I believe, or 8/7. They do those conversions on TV.
Yeah.
You can also see it on Hulu, and I also found out that it is now on in Netflix in the UK season 1, or Netflix in Europe. It's now season 1's available out there as well. So it's pretty cool. It's like they distributed it globally right at the launch of season 2, and season 2's been amazing. Apparently, like I don't pay attention to it, but like everyone keeps telling me like the viewership's unbelievable. Like it's like 4 million people watch every week.
Wow.
It's like one of the biggest shows on NBC right now. And I know it because people message me every day about how I pronounce Titan. Because apparently there's like everyone has an opinion on how to pronounce the word Titan. I say it like that because I'm from New York and that's just how we talk. But you'll be surprised at comments that people give you.
Is it because you're putting the stress on the "an", like Titan?
Well, if you go to Webster actually is like Titan is how they pronounce it on Webster's. It's kind of weird. Yeah, so I just say Titan, like Titan. That's how I say it. And people, but dude, I mean, I've gotten some like heinous comments from people on how to pronounce the word Titan, and people telling me to like
Titan.
Get certain. Yeah, there it is.
Titan.
People telling me to get certain orifices
like
out of my
saying it
mouth,
right.
all sorts of things. But yet, yeah. And then I asked my buddy Richard Sims, who does Halo commentary. I was like, "How do you pronounce it?" He was like, "Oh, it's Titan." I was like, "Who says the T? I've never said the hard pronounce the T." Anyway, whatever. So yeah, so that's been my life for this season. People hating me for the word how I pronounce Titan.
Do you get ribbed a lot when you show up to eSport Productions and be like, "Oh, we got NBC's Titan games, Goldenboy"? Is that nonstop? Okay. Good.
All the time.
Good.
It's a constant thing. How's your best friend, The Rock? How's DJ? We got a star on set. One time I did a gig, like a random Halo gig in Atlantic City. And then the guy like comes up to me, he's like, I know that you're used to like higher tier productions and stuff. I was like, dude, are you freaking kidding me? Like I come from the MLG days when we're sleeping on floors, trying to figure out like
4 guys in a hotel room. Yeah.
Yeah. Like whether or not we can afford a pizza pie. Like that was us. I have no stature. I just enjoy it. It's fun.
Hold on. They give you shit about the way you pronounce Titan, but not the fact you call it a pizza pie?
Well, no, I'm saying pizza pie for people who may not know. But yeah, it's a pie. For me, it's a pie. So that's how we say it. But people get really tilted apparently regarding that as well. Like they say, no, it's a pizza. I was like, no, it's a pie and it's a slice. And you're just gonna have to get over it.
Say it again.
Right?
Yeah, he said it. Hold on. Let's just really start. Let's make sure we can drive a wedge between you and your audience. Where's the best slice in New York? Where do you?
Oh no, there's too many good places.
Okay,
New York has the best pizza. Yeah, New York has the best pizza, hands down. If you're from Chicago, I'm sorry, I'm going to piss you off right here. What you got is a casserole with some bread. It's good. I'm not saying it's
delicious.
Not. It's delicious. I'm not saying it's not good. It's good food.
But I'm with you. I agree. It's not pizza.
But if you're from California, what you're eating isn't really pizza. It's actually wood, and it's disgusting. And California Pizza Kitchen isn't a real thing.
So not a fan of the flatbreads.
I'm sorry. Am I supposed to be like impressed by that?
I heard that DJ likes them, Goldenboy. I heard.
No, have you seen the pizza that man eats?
No, you're right. He eats the fucking
Have we seen
pizza.
the PCs? No, we haven't. Tell us.
No, it's on his Instagram. He posted on his Instagram. You guys don't follow The Rock on Instagram?
He does the cheat day post on Instagram. It's ridiculous the amount of food that.
To be fair,
I've never seen him come.
Instagram.
Oh, okay. It's a social media. We'll get you up to speed off. I don't have.
We'll get you there eventually. Yeah. You and your Butterfingers. You can post them on there. It's actually quite great.
Yeah, you might get more money out of it. Maybe.
Oh, okay.
I'm actually surprised. You like most people who live in New York that I know have a favorite, like have a place, like a pizza place they go. Like this is the best slice. Like I went out there and hung out with Swifter. He was like Pizza Suprema, best slice in New York. And
that's his. Yeah, he's
Swifter likes
talked about that a long
I couldn't
time.
deny it, man. That shit was the best pizza I've ever had. It was fucking amazing.
Yeah.
I'm always looking for another place though.
I like Spumoni Gardens in Brooklyn. There's another spot over here, San Remo, that's pretty solid. There's Nick's Pizza in the Bronx. There's Tony's in Queens. Like, all right, is it Queens? But yeah, there's a few really good ones. But it's like when you look at me, body built by cheese, sauce, and bread right here. Okay, I'll take it wherever I can get it. You know, I don't discriminate. I confiscate into my mouth.
Nice.
I love pizza.
Nice.
I wanted to actually ask you something about.
Fine.
Yeah.
I'm pie curious.
Nice.
Totally.
It's not a pie.
That's
nailed it.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Okay. I wanted to actually ask you about like the transition. Like, I've done like stupid shoutcasting because I don't know like what I'm doing for the most part, but I find it's easier to do something like a shoutcasting or calling for a game that is not super competitive, like Gang Beasts. You know that game?
Oh, so fun.
Like, exactly. Yeah. Like I've shoutcasted like fun like things for like PAXs and stuff. Is the transition from going to like being really knowledgeable and technical about video games and stuff, the transition to something like this, what's that like?
What do you mean, like transition to something like Gang Beasts or something?
No,
something like Titan games, yeah.
Oh, something like Titan games. Yeah. So that was an experience. They prepare you like very well on the show. Okay. So they like we'll have like binders that have all the competitors' information. So we'll always know what to reference. But I thought it was going to be a little challenging at first, but it ended up like they made it so that for season 1 at least, the producer Arthur Smith actually used to be a sports broadcaster himself. So he saw a lot of my work and was like, here's what I want you to do. I don't want you to actually look at the people doing the activity. I'm just going to feed it to you in the program feed and you commentate off of that. And Smart. So I treated it like a video game. And then he like then slowly got me used to like looking at everything in the broader picture. And you would look on the show now, and for a lot of the races, I would say like maybe 80% of it is like my live call, like what I did there. And then we'll do like some VO, which has been an experience because I've been doing all the VO here in my home office. And that's been wild. Like they send me like all this gear and stuff, and then I hook it all up, and then I do the voiceovers for them. It's so crazy. Like I have my air conditioner on right now. Maybe you can hear it in the background subtly.
Your gate's blocking a lot of it off though, so it's good. I think you have a gate on.
Oh, actually, wait a minute. I realized, hold on, my handy dandy fan over here. I got to bring it down to low. And then if I get to low eventually, then it'll sound better. Anyway, I can't have that on when I'm doing my voiceover. So it's like 90 degrees. I'm doing my VOs. It's nuts inside of here. But yeah, so I learned a lot about how to do all this. And I learned how to also take that stuff into esports as well, which has been really awesome. So it's definitely a transition, but you know, like I'm used to commenting like multiple games. So because of that, like you kind of develop like basic terminology that you can then like transfer over from game to game. And after a while, it just kind of flowed seamlessly.
Do you have to learn a lot of muscle names? With the time?
Yes, more like I don't know
Do
a
you
lot
know
of
all
muscle
the
names.
muscles now?
No, I don't know all the muscles, but and they didn't want that actually. Last season they wanted it to be very sports sciencey, but then this season they were just like his arms are hurting. So then I just like left it at that. There's no like they don't want the sports science anymore. They just wanted you to be like, oh, you know, you're really feeling the pain in your legs there. And like that's like what they want.
I guess make it so that the layman can understand it or
basically,
relate to it. Huh? Okay.
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense. What is the most demanding in your eyes, the most demanding? You called it a race. Are they all called races? Is that what you referred to them as?
Matches, challenges.
Yeah. What's the worst
battles.
one? What's the one that you could never do or never want to do? Maybe.
Oh, Lunar Impact. It is the only challenge. Well, there's 2 challenges, but this one made it into like the actual. So we have 2 challenges that made it from season 1 to season 2. It was Herculean Pull, which was essentially giant tug of war.
Okay.
And then like you're on a pyramid, and there are these poles. You have to remove the poles and then fight over the gold pole in the middle. It's crazy if you ever see it. But the one that's wild is Lunar Impact. That game can either end in 5 seconds or can go on for 25 minutes.
Dang.
So it's like there's a wall. They're like you have to climb up this ladder, and then there's this crescent-shaped bridge, and there's a wall in the middle, and you have to push the wall and then push your opponent off the bridge, right? Last season we had a battle that went 25 minutes, and the woman that won actually couldn't go on because she tore her like ACL or something.
Dang.
But she won. I mean, it was insane. And then like as she was descending down because they had him on harnesses, she's like, "Oh my God, that was worse than giving birth." Like is what she said. I mean, her name was Melissa Alcantara. I'll never forget her name because she was a Puerto Rican from the Bronx. So I was like, awesome. It's like me. But it was just the craziest match. So yeah, so those can go like 20 minutes, and I would never want to do that. That sucks.
Yeah,
like
the endurance stuff, from what I've seen, mostly of season 1, the endurance stuff was just hellish. Like
it was crazy.
Yeah, world class fit people just doing absurd things for long stretches of time. Just fun to watch, not enjoyable to do, I would think.
yeah. Great TV, but you don't want to do it. No, not at all.
You said that those went on for 25 minutes. What's like the longest race challenge, whatever, that you've had to commentate on? And how is it commentating something that went on for as long as it did that was kind of the same thing, but just like pushing against something, essentially?
That one was hard. It was, that was the longest. And we were then just going through like all of our material. Like we have those binders of information with the contestants.
Yeah.
And then the producer who was in my ear, his name is Steven Saylor. Guy's a genius, really, really smart guy. He was just pulling like random search on these people. And then he would just like, it got to the end of like 25 minutes when he's like, Melissa likes to ride motorcycles. And I'm like, how am I supposed to fit this into my commentary? Like, there's no way I'm going to fit like, man, this is really like
on their
riding
Facebook, like asking their parents.
Yeah. Like he's just fishing for information. Like, I mean, we ran the gamut of info that you could possibly pull away from this. And he was like, her favorite color is red. It's like, man, she must be seeing red right now, just like her favorite color. It was nuts.
And they probably used like 3 minutes of that on TV. They probably condensed it all down. So yeah.
Someone in chat said she got 5 likes on her last post. Mention that she has 5 likes in her last Instagram post. Did you know that, Liam? Like it's just so dumb.
Huh.
Do you ever find yourself feeling like oh God, was it Jason? I don't remember his name, but in Dodgeball, he was the one who said like, old strategy. Let's see if it works. Like, he doesn't really know what he's doing, but he's super confident being there. Like, do you ever find yourself in moments like that where you're like, I don't know what the fuck to say. I'm just gonna say some shit.
Every day of my life. Okay,
I knew it. I goddamn knew it. You can't be this cool all the time.
No, I've made it up the whole way through. People are shocked when I tell them that I have no broadcasting experience, and then I'm working alongside people who have like a degree and stuff, and they've studied this, and then they're like, so how did you like what school did you go to? I was like, oh, school. I went to high school, and then I failed out of college, and that was about it. And they're like, really? Like, yeah, I didn't really know what I'm doing here, man. I'm kind of just, I watch Jim Ross.
Experience goes a long way, man. Like we cut our teeth on the eSports days, right? Where I'm sure you've heard of the DJ Weed and Day 9 filling for 4 hours on a StarCraft 2 broadcast, the like legendary fill. Yeah.
I had a version of that for Halo Master Chief Collection. Me and I think it was, I want to say it was Bravo or Maven. We filled for 2 hours because Master Chief Collection was so broken and ESL refused to go to a commercial break. So we just sat there and we talked about what we ate
Yeah.
Or like the things we did that day. I mean, dude, it's nuts, man. But that's how you learn. That's honestly how you learn.
Yeah. It turned into what now I guess would be referred to as a just chatting stream.
Yeah.
But back in the day, it was just like, yeah.
We were doing it before it was cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Exactly. Trailblazers for sure. Let's talk a little bit about COVID and esports. Obviously, the world's been changed the past couple of months, and I would assume your amount of events that you've had to commentate have kind of started to, at least at first, dwindle as events were canceled. But now it seems like they're kind of starting to come back as people are starting to do a lot more online stuff. What's that process been like, and what do you think kind of the outlook for esports events and commentating and people that are potentially wanting to jump into it is looking like?
Well, to answer that question, I think now is the best time to get involved in it because there's like barely any limitations now. Like anyone can do it because we're all at home and we're all kind of on the same playing field. One of my advantages that I always had was I was really good at just being present in the arena and like absorbing like the energy from the crowd and just, having a lot of fun and feeding off of that was always like a strength of mine. So when it all happened, it was actually really scary. The last event I did was the Call of Duty League's LA home series event for Optic and Los Angeles Guerrillas. And I did that event and I thought that event was going to get canceled because there was like that was like right at the
what month was that? Like March?
February. It was
February.
like,
damn, okay.
Like, yeah, it was at the fever pitch. Like people were getting really scared and it was just a lot of like pressure. And if I'm correct, that was like the last home series. Maybe there was one more after that. I don't remember. So I got really scared because I had events booked all the way till August and everything got canceled. So I lost all that work. And I give a lot of credit though to my management agency, CSA, because like they did some hustling to like ensure that I was like okay, that a lot of talents were okay. Like one of the things they did that was like really awesome was they got a bunch of the casters partnered on Twitch, which was great. Like Twitch worked with them because Twitch Rivals, like so many CSA talents like cast Twitch Rivals.
Yeah.
So they worked really hard to like get people taken care of or at least help them, in some capacity. You still got to grow. You still got to like grind out and stream, and you guys know this better than anyone.
Just you don't get they don't hand you a giant check the second you get partnered, right?
Exactly. It's still a grind. But that was like, it was just really, really scary. So now everything's transitioned online and it's been better. But what sucked though is that because it's online, everyone thinks that everyone has like a limited time. So like events are like layering on top of each other, or people are just not very conscious of the time that they have, right? So they're just like, oh, you're at home. From a producer
standpoint, you mean?
Yeah. So it's like you're home. You could sit in a rehearsal for 5 hours and there's nothing, like, what are you going to do, right? And it's like, no, I have other things to do. So then I took up streaming. So I started streaming a lot more now, which has been pretty dope. And I've seen a lot of growth. Shout out to people who are watching on my channel. It's really nice of you. So yeah, it's been a wild ride, honestly. But we've all kind of dealt with it in one way or another.
Yeah. Do you think it's gonna like stifle growth at all of esports? I feel like it was kind of hitting this. I mean, it's just been growing for so long, and this past year seemed like it was going to continue doing crazier and crazier things, and now COVID's basically saying like, well, you can't leave your house.
Yeah, I don't think it actually hurt it all that much. Like I think initially, right, and now everyone's kind of just accepted it, but if anything, what this has done now is like shown all these online or all these TOs and all these producers, like you can do this at home. Like you don't have to spend this much money to like do all these events. If anything, it makes me a little concerned about how we're going to go back to events. I think that is the concerning part for me. Like where are we going to go from here? Like are people just going to default to online now as just because they proved that it could work? And it could work effectively, and it's maybe a little bit more cost effective as well. So I don't know, maybe that could be the where everything goes, and then we kind of just like see like, because I'm from my understanding like there will be no live events in 2020, like none.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've seen.
Every company I've talked to, every company that my agencies talk to, we are not going back to live events anytime soon. And we may not even be able to go back to live events until like maybe mid 2021.
That's the dates I've heard is mid 2021 is going to be when like things start coming back, conventions, eSport events, all that type of stuff. So yeah, this is like the new norm for a while.
Yeah, and that's if we even get a vaccine, or like it's entirely dependent on that, right?
Yeah.
Like if we get a vaccine, then maybe we can get back to normal. But I mean, who the hell knows when that's going to happen, and whether or not it's going to work,
right? And who knows what the new normal
and how
is.
expensive it'll be.
Yeah,
and
so
how
many
available will it be? Oh yeah.
It'll be a
mess.
It'll be a mess, most likely. Yeah, it is a mess, and it will be a mess for some time.
And I don't know, like who's going to be the first company to be like, we're doing a live event. That's also going to be another thing too. Like, which is going to be one of the companies that says we're going to make this thing happen. We're doing it, and then they're going to get a lot of pressure politically. They're going to get a lot of pressure, media, right, attention. Like, there's going to be a lot of that drama that comes out of saying we're going to be the first ones to do a live event, come through and watch it. And then who knows what spirals out of that, right? Maybe people just become afraid of doing events because of the public and political pressure that will come out of it if this isn't all sorted out in due time. So who knows?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm betting if I was a betting man,
also
I'd put it on like a big buck hunter like championship event. Like, that's what I would put on. Like that would be the first event. I would think they'd be like, we're doing it. Fuck it. Let's go.
Yeah. Apparently Riot's going to do, they're still committed to doing their world championship.
They're doing their bubbled or whatever, right? Like then
Overwatch is also doing the same thing. But when I'm talking about live events, I'm talking about where people can go and watch.
Yeah.
You could do the bubble. Like we're getting sports back. Pro wrestling's doing the bubble. Like everyone's doing their version of the bubble right now.
Right.
But people attending and watching, I don't see that happening for a long time.
Yeah. Cohh, you were going to say something?
Oh, just before we move on, I was just going to say, wear a goddamn mask.
Thank you. Yeah.
It's not hard.
Wear a fucking mask.
And I have asthma, and it bothers the hell out of me. Like, it's actually like a little challenging for me to breathe sometimes, but I still wear the damn thing.
Yeah.
You
have to.
You got to do it, man.
You got it. You were talking about different leagues and sporting events and all that stuff. UFC's fucking they're on an island right now.
Fight Island, bro.
Fight Island. I've been watching that almost every pay-per-view event that they've done. That shit's crazy. I think that they said they had like a lower third for it on their most recent pay-per-view event. I think they did 12,000 tests over the course of 2 weeks to like build this arena. And to enter the arena, you had to be tested both with like the nasal swab or whatever, and also they had the temperature check. And then every time you enter the arena after that, you have like a security card, and they also check your temperature. So like they're going to crazy extents or
it's crazy
limits to like make sure that stuff is as safe as possible. But I don't know if like an esports org is going to want to put that amount of funding into that stuff to keep everyone as safe as possible. Because that's
Gamer
expensive.
Island.
Island.
It'll be like video game high school, but like real life, and then on an island. That'll be dope. Let's do it, where everyone just streams and everyone has FiOS. Isn't that just such a dream? For everyone.
Honestly, I didn't even think about them streaming. I was just thinking about like the movie Battle Royale. Like I'd go down there. I bet I think I like my chances against other gamers. Like I think I could probably beat some ass with like a baseball bat.
You told me some stories about what's that festival you go to? You told me some stories about that. Burning Man,
so
dude, I think you'll do okay. I think you'll be fine. Yeah,
I'm acclimated to that. I know how to survive. Like
when Zeke goes there, he doesn't even bring food. He just hunts the other people, like the whole 9 yards.
So that's what you meant. Okay, I know.
The most dangerous
when he comes back about how delicious Long Pig was, that's what he's talking
about. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
I get the hunger at once a year.
Crazy time. But
I mean, we're all playing battle royales now. Might as well, right? Like everyone just wants to play Warzone.
It's only a matter of time till we get to the real battle royale, as Japan intended with their with the initial battle royale.
Battle royale of life.
Yeah, it's
happening.
It'll happen soon on NBC. Look forward to it.
On NBC, hosted by Dwayne Johnson.
DJ and Goldenboy. Yeah,
old DJ will be there.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, GB and DJ. Sounds like an old 90s.
Jesus. Well, we usually ask right at the start of the show where their username came from with our guest. We didn't ask you at all. So, Goldenboy, where'd your username come from? Where'd you pull that one from?
Hold on. I gotta show you. Wait a minute.
Oh, okay. Are you?
So I was a kid. I didn't know about this. Everyone thinks my name is either because I'm Jewish, which I'm not. I'm Puerto Rican. I'm from the Bronx. Or whether I'm an Oscar De La Hoya fan. No, not a De La Hoya fan. I'm a Tito Trinidad fan. Again, he was Puerto Rican. So I watched an anime.
I thought it was the Golden Pony Boy. Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, look at that.
So I watched this anime. My brother found this DVD for me in a box at Comic-Con, and he bought it for me. So I watched this anime on the Anime Network, which was on Cablevision's anime channel that they had. It was like a VOD service. And I didn't know that this anime was pervy. I had no idea. I don't know. I don't think I could show the...
Don't show the back. But what... Actually, we're streaming on your channel too. You get banned, but I always
we'll
have to remind guests that we're also streaming on your channel.
Oh, don't Google that. Don't Google that.
Yeah, I was going to ask. Hold. How? It's a guy on a bike. What is?
So the story is that he's a jack of all trades, right? Master of none.
Okay.
He would ride his bike, and he was like a traveling nomad. He would go to these different places, and he would get into these misadventures that would usually revolve around a girl. Right now, I didn't realize when I thought that this was just how these shows were back then. I didn't realize that he was like a huge pervert. It didn't sit with me, right? I just didn't realize what it was. But I liked the name Goldenboy. And I liked the character because he was like a master of all things. He was always trying to learn. And his thing was study. Like he was always trying to get better at stuff. And then at the end of every episode, he would find a way to make whatever he did wrong good again through his own ingenuity and natural ability. Okay. So I appreciated that element of it. But then I learned that is the equivalent of me saying I read Playboy for the articles. I didn't recognize that those, because I was a kid back then, and my mom didn't know either. She just was like, "Oh, what is this crap you're watching?" But I was just like, "Oh, I'm telling her the story." She's like, "Oh, okay, I guess so."
Does she know now?
And now she knows that what I was watching was not appropriate.
Nice.
But I also was a really bad creative person. I never came up with good names. So this was as far as it was going to go for me.
Okay.
My name in SOCOM too was Sergeant Joe.
Real good.
Because it was the duck from Suikoden or Suikoden.
Suikoden.
Suikoden, yeah, sure.
Suikoden. I forgot how you pronounce that. Chad will correct us here in a sec.
From Suikoden 3, he was like a duck with a lance, and I thought he was funny because he was a duck with a lance, and his name was Joe. So that was my name. So either I'd have been Goldenboy or Sergeant Joe. So either way, I screwed up.
Going along the lines of taking names from Suikoden, I used Blue for a little while. If you played Suikoden 2, I think is what it was. Anyways, Cohh.
Real quick. Goldenboy, for your next show, Oscar De La Hoya fan.
Just go with that. Yeah.
I'll take it.
If DJ asks you where you got your name from, just say, "Oh, I love Oscar, man. Huge fan."
I just tell people, I do tell people it's from an anime, and then I leave it at that because no one ever goes that far to search it up.
Sure.
So I just say it's from an anime, and then they leave it alone.
Googling Golden Bow, my lord.
Oh my.
Yeah, it's
God.
No, don't do that. Funny enough, though, this guy messaged me on Facebook the other day. And then he was like, you're going to get sued, right, by Oscar De La Hoya because you stole his name.
Oh.
I was like, hey man, it's from an anime, and then I just blocked him.
There's a UFC fighter that has the moniker Golden Boy. So that's not going to happen. That's not a thing.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you about your pseudonym and your real name. Are you do you tip one way or the other? I'd rather use call me Golden Boy. Or do you mind? Do you care? In a professional setting, I like Zeke, or in any Twitch related thing, call me Zeke. But I tell my mom, you don't have to call me that when we're in a call, Mom. You can call me by my real name. It's okay now. Because I trained her. I'm like, sometimes I call her on my stream, and I'm like, call me by my screen name. And then in the like when I'm calling her just cuz, she'll be like, Zeke. I'm like, Mom, you don't have to use that. I'm not on the air right now.
Yeah, that's funny. I go by, so for obviously my wife and my family, they call me my name, which also is another thing. My father's name is Alex Mendez. My brother's name is Alex Mendez, and my name is Alex Mendez.
Oh God.
I am Alex Andrew Mendez III. My brother is Alex Jose Mendez II, and my father is Alex Mendez. I thought that this was normal. I learned that this was not normal because of my wife. She shames me about it on a regular basis. My family, though, despite the fact that my name is Alex Mendez, my family calls me Andrew.
What?
And yeah, so like they named me this, but they don't call me it, which is ridiculous, because who would have thought that it was stupid to name your kids the same thing? You know, it's pretty dumb. So my wife calls me Alex, and when we're having holiday get-togethers with like the family, she'll say, "Oh, Alex, come to the kitchen." All three of us show up, and it's like, maybe you shouldn't have done that, Dad and Mom. You know, bunch of knuckleheads.
You know what that means now,
So,
Alex, is if you're ever fortunate enough to have kids of your own, you got to name them Alex.
My dad says that all the time. He's like, and then when Alex the Fourth shows up, I was like, not happening, Dad. Not happening. Nope, because I'm not an idiot. That's why. So my friends, though, it's like a mix. My friends call me, like, they call me GB, they call me Jeebs, or they call me, they just say Alex. Depends on who it is. My best friend, though, his name is Ghost, and I only call him Ghost. Even though like he introduces himself to other people as his born name, which I refuse to say. It's like it's standard Jonathan. You know, like, come on, who the hell wants that? And I call it like, so we kind of go by our gamer names with our amongst our friends quite a bit. But yeah, but he hates that I do that. So hi, Ghost. I know you're watching. So screw you. Haha.
Is this Ghost Dayame? Is that?
No. This is my buddy Ghost. He's like Ghost JP.
Okay.
Yeah, not Ghost Siami. But it's just funny because whenever I play with him, they're always like, "Are you playing with Ghost Siami?" He's like, "No, I'm not playing with Ghost Siami."
I made the Halo connection there. Yeah. Yeah. I don't think I've ever called Cohh. Have I ever called you Ben before? Have I ever said, "Hey Ben"? I don't think
that just sounds weird.
It just sounds weird to say. Yeah. And then for Zeke, I mean, we all call him, even though it's not his real name, we call him Zeke. And JP is my real name. So
Zeke is. Well, Zeke is. It was convenient. I didn't know how far this Twitch thing would go. I made this Ezekiel the Third account in the Justin TV days. Like, I've had this name for 10 years.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how convenient it would be to have like a screen name that's an actual real name. You know, I'm not like super power guy or anything like that. My name is Zeke. Like, it's a real name. Right. And it also is very convenient that it happens to be pretty close to my real name, which is Zach.
Right.
Yeah, that works. So why not Ezekiel the Third?
Yeah, that just rolls off the tongue. Ezekiel the Third. That's great.
Just TLDR, Ezekiel was a character from a script that I used to be in a comedy group that we did sketch comedy like once a month. We write our own scripts and stuff. And there's a recurring character in a it was called, the scripts were called Rednecks, and they had like 8 or 9 like iterations. Like, it was a running thing. And I was cousin Zeke in that, who got out of prison just recently, and he was huffing paint, and he's just this crazy like fucking guy. So I was like, cousin Zeke, nope, taken. Zeke, blah, taken. And then Ezekiel the Third, because rednecks often name like down. It's like, I'm Travis Jr., Travis the Third, Travis the Fourth.
Right.
So like me, like my family.
Yeah.
We could have lived in an alternate timeline where your name was Cousin Ezekiel.
It would have been cousin Zeke.
Cousin Zeke.
Dude, that would have been great.
That would have been pretty good. You could add like a religious themed channel. You know, I mean, you kind of do already with Takarilla, to be honest. It's just a different form.
I forget that I'm like the high priest in a religion that I made up.
Yeah. Maybe you should actually just start referring to yourself on the days of worship as cousin Zeke. You know, just
I should, cousins. There should be, like cousins and brothers in the religion. Yeah,
exactly. Exactly. You always got to add on.
Speaking of that, Goldenboy, have you heard of his Takiwa goodness?
I think you've mentioned it to me in its good word in the past. I'm fairly certain that this has come up.
Good.
I've investigated it. You know, I'll send you a memo. We'll see what happens.
I have some pamphlets to show you. They're actually just menus.
I may be in the market for a new religion, so I may just hit you up.
Maybe just
that's a good one, man.
There's
no demands or commandments or nothing.
He's on NBC. He's got a lot of airwaves. Zeke, you could float it to DJ and see if he's interested in joining.
Hit him up.
Yeah, hit him up. Well,
we're the different levels of tacoism.
Jesus Christ. We're due for a break here. Then we'll come back. We got a lot more stuff to talk about. Any final questions here for Goldenboy in this kind of like interview segment, I guess is what we're calling this?
Yeah, I didn't know this was going to be an interview. I had no idea. I thought we were just going to talk about random things.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we got a lot. We have sports are now a thing on Twitch. Logic's now paid to stream on Twitch. We got Ghost to talk about. We're going to preview the Xbox Series X event tomorrow. Whole lot of stuff.
Gamer chairs.
Gamer chairs are a thing on Logitech and Herman Miller. Yeah, and they're not race car chairs anymore. Racer chairs, I guess is what they're called. I didn't realize that a class of chair was now called a racer chair. And that was like a derogative name.
Like the first big brand was DX Racer.
Yeah.
So I think kind of like, it all kind of stemmed from
They all come from the same Chinese manufacturing plant.
And they're bucket chairs essentially, which would go into a car. Like that's the shape of it. But
yeah.
Anyways.
That always boggled me. It's like sitting in one and it's like, oh, this game is shit. I'm really playing. Whoa!
We
like the side guards in case I roll out of the chair while I'm playing the game.
I think it might have been at an IPL event, Goldenboy. The head of DX Racer was there, and he oftentimes would try to talk to me and sell me or give me. He wanted to give me a chair because he knew that I streamed, and he would love to have the free promotion. That's why they give those chairs away. And I think I bought I've been on the Herman Miller. This is a steel, not steel series. No, steel series. Steel case. Yeah, steel case.
Okay.
Chair.
Yeah.
And I would always just shut him off. And finally, after 3 or 4 events, he came up to me and said, "Hey, do you want one of those chairs still? I'm always looking to we'd love to send you one." And I said, "Look, man, I'm going to be real honest. I think your chairs are dog shit. I've had a steel case and an air for years. Please stop trying to peddle this shit with me because I don't want it."
Yeah.
Walked away. So yeah,
dude, I bought this chair from BTOD. So it's BTOD Akir. So I bought the Embody from the Herman Miller, which actually is what this chair is. The new one that's coming out. It's just a reskinned Embody with a new cushion.
Yep.
So I bought that one, but then because of COVID, so my chair actually sits over here. My old chair sits on the side. I bought this thing on Amazon for $30, and I was rolling with this thing for a while. And then because I was working so much from home, I said I need to get a new chair. I have to make this thing happen. So I finally bought that the Herman Miller.
Yeah.
And then from that website, BTOD, because they didn't have it on their website, and they said that they couldn't manufacture it. It was a remanufactured chair, so they said they couldn't get it to me in time. So then they offered me this one, and I ended up getting it. It's a fantastic chair. It's really good. I love it. This thing's super comfortable. It fits really well, but it's it doesn't have the gamer appeal. Doesn't have anything to it. And when I send it over to people, they're like, "Oh, this is a pretty boring chair." I was like, "It's supposed to be good for your body.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to look like you're sitting in a spacecraft. This is just supposed to be good for you because we sit all day and we need these good chairs, and that's it. We don't need anything special." But yeah, I am kind of bummed I didn't wait for the Herman Miller one, for the Logitech one, just because I knew that they would probably manufacture them or have a lot of them ready, and then they'll be able to send it out faster because they're going to release this share.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that they're going to get backed up, and it's going to be crazy.
Zeke, you bought one this morning, right? Was there a delay to the delivery, or was it just
they said it would go the day that they said it's going out is the 27th, so in 5 days.
That's not so bad.
It will
be
pretty
good.
Going out, shipped out on the 27th.
I would think the price point probably is deterring a lot of people from. I mean, it's $1,500. So it's not like Jimmy, the 13-year-old Fortnite player, can go buy one right away, right? So
Nope.
Yeah.
And I got a DX Racer years ago, they sent me one. T-Mobile sent me a DX Racer to like,
was it
just because my chair was breaking and I needed a new one.
It was like pink branded and T-Mobile branded and all that.
No,
shit?
no, it was actually like a subtle black chair. It just had the magenta T-Mobile color in the background. It's magenta, by the way.
Okay, sorry. I needed. I'm not on brand colors. Sorry.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Get on my level. Anyway.
Yeah.
The chair fell apart in like a month.
Yeah.
Like I was actually sitting on it, and I had a Tim the Tatman moment where my chair just fell back,
Dude,
and then everything just fell apart.
Yeah.
And so ever since then, I was like, nope, not buying one of those chairs ever again. I'm sure they're great. I'm sure the people that work there are fantastic and really nice folks, but it's just not for me.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I think I would go through those I would go up to Office Max or any of the Office Depot, whatever store, and buy the like $300 to $400 executive leather chairs, and those would last like maybe 2 years if I was lucky, and then so many different parts of them would just start breaking. And then I've owned these chairs, and like if you're gonna sit in a chair for as long as we do, it's worth it. Like it's 100% worth it.
Worth every penny.
Yeah.
And I look at it like you'll get a new iPhone every year for $1,000, right? Like, or every other year for like $1,000.
Yeah.
Right. And then you go out and get another one. Like, hopefully, if you spend $1,500 on a chair, it's going to last you like 7-8 years. Hopefully.
Yeah, it's supposed to last.
It seems like a good investment,
chair.
especially if you're going to use it as much as we will.
Yeah. Cohh, what do you sit on? Because you seem like you just sit in a realm of nothingness.
Wait, do you have a green screen on your chair? Or? Oh, okay.
No,
okay.
remember,
okay.
I have this chair. Remember?
Is that
yeah.
Herman Miller?
Oh yeah, the titties chair.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
This is
right.
Yeah, this is a Herman Miller Mira 2, and it was like I used a gaming chair for a while, and then I switched to this guy essentially, and it is night and day difference. And like people, you know, those chairs are really expensive. What are you thinking? And it's like, dude, I sit in this chair 11 hours a day most days.
Yeah.
It's like it is an investment. There's no question it's an investment. And you buy one of these chairs new, they come with really nice warranties. They're super comfortable. Like my back used to hurt me in my DX Racer. Over time, I would get like a consistent pain in my lower back that would get worse and worse and worse. For the longest time, I just thought something was wrong with my back. I didn't realize it was because the posture of that thing like basically like pushes you forward and it like puts all the weight in the wrong places and there's no support there. So it's like, going from those to this was night and day. And not only that, but it fell apart my other chair at the end of it. So I very, very much recommend getting a good, decent chair from whoever you are. But I use Herman Miller and I love it.
So many products that are geared toward gamers and kids, and it really does bother me. Like I feel like, you know, I don't try and like talk down to, because I know that at the end of the day, right, it's just marketing and whatnot. But there's just so many energy drink companies that market toward kids, and it's like, dude, just when you're streaming, the best thing to have is water. Just drink water. Like, you know, it's good for you, right? I did a
none of us are sponsored by G Fuel, so feel free to.
I am sponsored by water. I'm sponsored by water though, so keep going, please.
Water's great.
I did an event with Coca-Cola, and it was a like a sales event that they were doing with their retail partners, and I ended up speaking to their head of Dasani, and I spoke. He had no idea about the gaming world and stuff, so I'm just like, listen, you have an opportunity here. It is the healthiest drink, and everyone has it, and they all know that it exists. So your product reach is already like globally high. Just sponsor the gamers. Like get some gamers out there. I'll give you a list. You know, just sponsor these people and like please preach like the good use of water like to so many players because it's so essential. They're putting like so much crap in their body and it's not good for them. And then the guy was just like, yeah, but they're gonna buy water anyway, right? Like, yeah, but help us. You know,
that's such a God, that's such a marketing answer. Fuck.
I would just love like the G Fuel or whatever opposing commercials being like, are you drinking too much dihydrogen monoxide? Ugh.
Yeah.
Drink G Fuel instead.
Yeah.
Fun DJ story real fast.
Okay.
The man only drinks Voss water. That's all he has.
It's high mineral count. It's not purified. I watched the thing on water, so I'm like all on water right now. I know it's recent knowledge. I'm not just like a water fucking weirdo.
I watched a thing on water.
It's yeah. I mean, I guess
now.
I am a water weirdo. It's yeah.
I didn't know you were such a connoisseur for water.
I didn't know that there was such a. Did you know that like wine has a I'm gonna butcher the word, but like a sommelier or whatever for wine. Mm-hmm. There's also the same thing for water.
A qualier.
It's maybe yeah. Let's
Please
call
tell me it's a qualier.
Oh, I just made that word up.
Yeah, I don't. I think they referred to themselves as the same thing. Yeah, it was on like it's a Netflix like travel show, and they it's what's his name? It's actually one of DJ's friends, Zach Efron.
Oh, it was Zac Efron's show?
Yeah.
My wife just started watching that.
Yeah, I think it's episode 3 or something like that. They said that like purified water is bad because it strips all the minerals out of it. So you just want to drink like normal, non-bottled, like mineral water is essentially the best. I don't know.
Tap water?
No, tap water is bad because here in the U.S. it's so filtered and there's so much extra chemicals in it that it's actually not good to drink for your body.
They put a lot of chemicals in it, so it's like it's safer essentially.
Fluoride, and chlorine, and
fluoride, and stuff.
Yeah,
dude, shattering my brain right now.
Yeah,
it's like a whole new world.
The thing though that I was a little bit, and then we're gonna take a break. The thing that scared me is they were like, "Oh yeah, Fiji water is really good," and I was like, "Oh my god!" But that's such like a meme in the world to drink Fiji water. But now you're telling me it's the best. Like, were they on to something?
Is it the best? Is it the best?
They said it's like the most commercially known best water is Fiji water, apparently.
Dude.
And it turns out that same documentary talked about, if you've ever seen Raiders of the Lost Ark at the end, that's what happens when you drink tap water. Like your face just.
Yep.
Like that's essentially what happens.
That's true.
So don't. Tap water's bad.
Tap water's rough. Yeah. Filtered water's also rough though. Like if you have a filtered water, it strips all the minerals out of it. So.
Damn, son, that's crazy. The more you know.
The more you know. The more you know, the more anxiety you get. That's how that saying goes. Yeah.
Everything's supposed to kill you, people. So stay indoors. We're doing a good job so far, and wear a damn mask. We're done.
There you go. That's it.
Wear a damn mask.
That's it. We're done with this segment. We're gonna take a break. We'll be back with Goldenboy talking sports now as a category on Twitch as of this morning. We'll talk a little bit about that. Logic signed a multi-million year contract here, or multi-million-dollar contract here on Twitch earlier this week. Ghost of Tsushima's out. Me and Cohh have been playing it. We'll talk about that. And then, of course, we'll be previewing the Xbox Series X event happening tomorrow at noon Eastern.
I like how JP just basically said most people, or not JP, Zeke just said most people's reaction to that. He was just like, what?
Multi-million year. He's going to be streaming for eons, by the way, chat. Yeah. No, sports on Twitch. It's a thing. It's weird. It was on the front. We'll talk about it in the second break. Or the second half after the break. We'll be right back with more right after this. We'll see you then.